Hi, I'm Hannah Brown, and welcome to Better Tomorrow. My absolute favorite thing to do is have a heart-to-heart talk with my new friends and my best friends, where we sit down and talk about all the things like relationships and love, faith, and self-care. And of course, the little things as well, like the struggle to figure out what to eat tonight. All in all, I really want to ask, how am I better today than yesterday? And bring artists, entrepreneurs, and friends along on the journey. So join me on the journey, will you? Y'all, welcome back to Better Tomorrow. We've got my friend Paul here, which I don't know how to say his last name, so we're practicing it. Basagoitia.
Hey,
Basagoitia.
imagine being a child and like learning how to spell that last name.
Tough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had Brown, which was pretty easy.
Hannah Brown. That flows so nicely. Hannah Brown.
It really is great. Yeah. Hannah Woolard is not the same, but that's okay.
You know what's so funny? So many of my team managers, their wives, they always like, hey, tell Paul how did him and Hannah Brown connect? Because like we live in a different type of world.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's so funny because a lot of my team managers are like, how does Paul know Hannah? How does like those are two different people.
From very different worlds. How we met, I don't remember the first time we met, but we met through our friend Annie,
right,
who has actually been on the podcast. But she just like knows everyone, I feel like. But we met when I was living in Santa Monica. You moved to Venice from Colorado, correct?
Tahoe.
Okay,
Tahoe, Reno, the mountains, yeah.
Whenever I think of mountains, I just think Colorado.
Well, there's a lot of mountains in Colorado as well.
Because that's where you're from.
I'm originally from this little town called Minden, which is like outside of Reno.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a small little mountain town, and that's where all started for me.
Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to kind of go back to that, because you are a pro. You are a pro mountain biker. How did you get into biking? And was that like big in your area?
So growing up in a small town, like school sports, like everybody wanted to do school sports, right? Like you go and you're on the basketball team, you're on the football team, you're on the soccer team.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like so independent that I didn't really want to be involved with like sports with other people. Like I didn't want to be a team.
You didn't want to be a team player.
No, I as like growing up, I was so cool, just like being the best I can be on this like two wheels.
Yeah.
Like when I was 6 years old, my mom got me a bike for my birthday, and right then I'm like, this thing is amazing, and this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm like do every single day. And I never like did any school sports, and I just rode bikes every single day.
But did you know that you could, like when you're 6 years old, that it could become like a sport, a profession for you? Like when did that become introduced to you?
So I started competing when I was 6. Yeah, my mom would drive me all around the U.S.
How did she know about it? Did she just see that you were really good at riding? Like, what is being good at riding your bike at 6 years old?
Yeah, so there would be like a local BMX track, and they would host a race every Sunday with other kids and adults and stuff. And I would show up to this track, and I would race other kids in my age group, and I would win. And then you would collect enough points, and then you would move to like a next race, which would be in a different state, and you collect points. And then at the end of the year, the kid that has the most points is the champion of that age group. I was the champion.
Of course you were. But like, I'm just thinking about me as a 6-year-old riding a bike. Like, I'm just riding my bike down the street. Like, were you at 6 years old, as a young kid, like, were you like, I just got to find something to jump off of? Or like, what does that look like? I'm trying to paint a picture in my mind of like what it looks like a race at that age. Cause I'm just thinking, we're starting at the end of the block going down the street, straight path. That's not what you were doing.
No. And it's like, when I think about it now, going back, I have to like go back, right?
Yeah.
And it's so weird to go back in time. And I'm like, my mom, like, think about that, right? Like, my mom was in charge of all this, like taking me to the races and like allowing me to be so independent and like doing me. Like the fact that she gave me so much freedom as a child is like, It's kind of crazy, but I think it's good. I think I found myself very quickly and knew that like this could be something that I don't know. I'm not saying I knew it was going to be a career when I was 6 years old, but I
Yeah.
knew this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
regardless where it went.
Yeah. That's so cool. So when did you get into the actual like mountain biking?
Yeah.
Because you weren't starting out doing like trail riding.
No. So I was racing BMX when I was 6 years old until I was 14.
And what does BMX mean?
So BMX racing, it's a smaller bike with smaller wheels, and 8 people would line up on a starting gate and you would race around a track.
Okay.
So that's what I did. And then my parents got divorced. And when that happened, my BMX career kind of just stopped because my mom went a different route. And hey, when you go through a divorce, it's complicated.
Yeah.
Right? And that just stopped.
And how old were you?
A-okay. Because guess what? I still love riding the bike.
Yeah.
But this time I started riding a different type of bike that I didn't need to go to the track.
And how old were you at this time?
Like 15?
Okay.
14, 15, yeah. And then I would just get, so this would be more of like this is so funny talking bike stuff with you, Hannah.
Yeah, and for my listeners
I love
are like,
it's so funny.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking a bike that you just get at Walmart,
Right.
and you're like, no, BMX bike is this totally different type of bike. Yeah.
So I got like a freestyle BMX, and I was like, okay, cool. I don't need to go to the track. I don't need to depend on my mom taking me to these races. I'm just going to start like building these dirt jumps behind like people's houses or like in vacant lots. And I'm going to learn backflips. And this is what I want.
All yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to figure out how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
And then started doing that, doing all these tricks. And then my friend was already kind of like a professional mountain biker. And he saw what I was doing on this BMX bike with smaller wheels. And he's like, if you can do this stuff on this bike, it's going to change your life.
So would you say it was that friend that kind of made you realize like, oh, I know I love doing this. I know I want to do this for the rest of my life, but I can make this into a career, and I'm actually already doing pretty well.
It was crazy. Like the mountain bike side of things, never did I think I was going to go that route. I was so focused on the BMX racing, and that ended with my parents, right? And then the freestyle BMX, I'm like, okay, I see a vision there. And then my friend Cameron comes out of nowhere, and he was like, you know, he went to a high school down he went to the same high school that I did, and he was riding the same type of events just on a different bike. And once I got introduced to the mountain bike, he's like, do what you were doing on this BMX bike, and you're going to change some things.
So when did it become like your profession? How old were you?
16.
16.
I was like a junior. I was 16. Yeah, I was a junior in high school.
So were you still going to school?
So yeah.
You finished school.
It was So I won that event sophomore summertime.
What is that event? What's the event?
Yeah, so this event I won in 2004.
Is this hilarious? Because you're talking to me about somebody who has no idea about the sport.
Yeah, no, this is cool. So I won this event called Crankworks in 2004.
Okay.
And it's the Super Bowl of mountain biking.
Okay.
It's the Super Bowl of mountain biking. And I went to that event borrowing my best friend's bike, Cameron.
You didn't even have your own bike?
Did not even have my own bike. He's like, come down to Whistler. I'm going to let you borrow my bike. And like I said, go do your thing at this event. And I think you're going to do really well. I show up, borrow his bike, and I won. I won the event, and I had no idea. And I didn't know it was going to change my life.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. And I got to go. I'm like, it's my 20-year anniversary winning that event.
Today?
No, this year. This year.
Okay. I'm like,
so this event happens again. It happens every year.
Okay.
60,000 people. It's crazy. And they give all the past champions like rings, like Super Bowl rings with the year they won. It's a really cool event to be a part of. And my 20th anniversary is this year. And so since we're talking about it, it's crazy to go back to that very first time, because after winning that event, I won $3,000. I was like stoked, right?
Yeah.
So
At 16?
yeah, I was like, this is awesome. I'm gonna get a hotel tonight. My mom has no idea what's going on, and I called her. I was like, hey, I just won this event and I got $3,000, Mom. It was the first time I ever made like a paycheck riding a bike from 6 years old to like, that's a long journey, right? And I called her after I won, 3,000 Canadian, which is even less than 3,000 American. I was like, I did it, Mom. I did it. And then the next day, boom, endorsement deals were coming in every way. And when I was like 16, 17, I just remember going to high school and I was like, I'm making more money than my teachers right now. It's just crazy.
That is crazy.
And I was just like so humbled and blessed. And I didn't think it was ever going to last more than a year or two, right? Like I'm finally living my dream.
Yeah.
You can't live your dream forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you?
I don't know.
For me,
Yeah.
at 16, I was just like, because they were only signing me for 1-year contracts. So like each time the
You have
contract,
to prove yourself every year.
exactly. So I'm like, every fucking year, I have to be stressed out at the end of the year if my contract is up or not.
Dang. So what is a typical day like? So you're like, all right, this competition like literally changed your life. You win this thing. What is a typical day of a professional mountain biker? Like, how many hours are you training? Is there cross training going on?
Yeah. It changed for me over time, right? Like when I was competing at that level, I had my own 30-acre ranch with a foam pit that I would jump in and learn new tricks so I wouldn't get hurt. So I built this crazy foam pit and I would learn new tricks in the foam pit before I brought it to the dirt.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's like, it's baby steps, right? To get to it. Like, because some of these tricks, you can get punished if you fall. So you got to make sure you do repetitions over and over and over. And I would spend like 8 hours in that foam pit every day, just doing like, for example, like double flips, double backflips, double backflips, double backflips.
You're talking 2 rotations in the air on a bike and then landing.
And I would, but like
so
8 hours
scary.
a day for like 5 months, just knowing the fact that you better be perfect when you do this on dirt, because if not, I mean, people will they become quadriplegics because of this trick.
Dang.
And
so would you say injuries are very common in the sport?
Big time.
Okay.
Yeah, big time.
Like
Hannah, big time.
I know. We definitely are going to get into that, but I just didn't know if it was, I mean, obviously, like you're saying, you're jumping off, like how high are these jumps that you're doing to be able to do these types of tricks that you're doing in the air? And then you have to land on. You hope to land.
Yeah, it all depends, and it all depends what event you're competing at, right? Like there's this one event called the Red Bull Rampage, and you have to find your way down this hill, and you're ripping down ridge lines, and some of these jumps are 60, 80 feet, jumping over canyon gaps.
So
it's a scary way to make a paycheck, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, are you pretty, would you say, like one of those like adrenaline junkies in all things, or more just like in your sport?
It's changing. It used to just be my sport, but now my sport is more of like it's like a tool for me to be like, it's very therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't ride bikes to get rushed up.
Yeah.
Like every time I go ride, it's just like, chill. I can do this again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally. Well, I know your story, and I'm so excited for people to get to know kind of all that you've been through, because obviously you had like this awesome career ahead of you. You were living out your dream. But I would love for you to take me back to the day when like everything changed, and that ride and how you felt going into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Could you imagine being on the top of your game and all of a sudden it gets taken away from you? Could you imagine that?
No.
That's exactly what happened to me
Yeah.
when I was competing. in 2015 at the Red Bull Rampage.
Okay. So this was a competition.
Mm-hmm. Live TV, helicopters in there, spectators on the ground. It's Red Bull's number one viewed event that they do. A lot of eyes on this fucking
How
contest.
are you feeling going into that day?
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Confident. Knew it was going to be my last year competing at this event.
Why did you know that?
I was just burnt out. I think I wasn't burnt out. I was just so blessed I was able to do this for so long without like much punishment, I think. You know?
Yeah, what were the injuries before?
Shattered my wrist. I had 3 operations on that, dislocated a hip and like a collarbone. But
that's nothing compared to
this those heal.
Yeah.
Those heal. So those are to me, those are just little hiccups.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, going back to Red Bull Rampage, like that event only happens once a year because it's so dangerous. And sometimes they take a couple years off because it's so dangerous. And every year there's always a crash that's like, whoa. So it's one of those things I did not want to continue doing as I got older.
Yes.
So in 2015, I'm like, this is the last year. I'm going to do it regardless if I win or not. But this is the only event that I've never won in my career. So it was one of those things I'm like, fuck, before I hang it up, I want to be Crankworks champion, the Super Bowl, and the Red Bull Rampage. And then I'm done. See ya.
Yeah.
Love you all.
Yes. So that was the goal. You're just like, I'm doing this.
Had the vision.
You'd
saw
been
it so
practicing.
clearly. Oh yeah.
You had nailed it in the past. Yeah.
So we show up 7 days prior to this event.
Okay.
And I roll with my team of diggers, making sure the jumps are good. We're cutting down this ridge line. It's a crew. It's you bring your crew to survive this war. It's dangerous, and everybody from different countries come in with their crew.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Okay.
And we go out there with shovels and picks out there at night, just shaping the lines, making sure we can get down this mountain without falling off this cliff.
So wild.
It aged me, that's for sure. And like I said, it's one of those things I did not want to continue doing. So that year I was so relieved because I felt so good. I practiced my line. Everything was perfect. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Paul Bass on course. Drop in, knowing everything what I did in practice was perfectly smooth. I was like, this is going to be like practice.
Yeah.
Did everything perfect. I go down to the last second obstacle. It's the only obstacle I didn't really get to practice because the event got moved a day event due to weather. But I was like, it's okay. I've hit jumps this big before. Come up to that jump, I overshoot. I drift off the course, catch a pedal on the branch, flip on my back, out.
You land on your back.
Out, yeah. Land on my back, knock the wind out of me. Ooh. Yeah.
Did you pass out at all, or you just like?
No, it just knocked the wind out of me. It was so weird.
So that's what you noticed. You're like, "Oh, I just got
Hannah,
hit."
I've taken many more slams harder than this before, and I was so mad. I was like, because you have 2 chances to do this run. I'm like, I just had the winning run, and now I have to go back up again to try it again.
So you're like, okay, just got the wind knocked out of me. Yeah, I got to get back up.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't get back up.
And I was ready to go up for my second run after catching my breath, and I tried to move my legs. And I said, oh shit, okay, let's try this one more time. Try to move my legs again, wasn't happening. And then on the third time, I was like, oh, this is I freaked out and I said, I can't move my legs. I can't move my legs. And the medics came and found out what was going on. And actually, a helicopter came and picked me up, and this new journey started.
What did the doctors, when you got to the hospital, what did they say to you in the hospital? And like, what was your prognosis after this event?
We're going deep, Hannah. This is cool. This is cool. I don't talk about this often.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary because like a spinal cord injury is like a snowflake. No injuries alike. So when you ask the doctor, am I ever going to walk again? They can never give you a clear answer because every spinal cord injury is different.
So they tell you, you didn't know. Did you know when you're in the helicopter is a spinal cord injury? Or was it the doctor telling you?
No. So the helicopter takes me to the airport or to the hospital, and they run all the scans. I'm laying down. I got blood all running down my face because the helicopter, when they came pick me up, all the debris from the blades was cutting my face up. So I was so like,
what was the pain?
I couldn't feel or move anything, but I just remember like the drip of the blood running down my face.
Mm-hmm.
And finally they roll in and they tell me the outcome. Paul, you burst fractured your T12 vertebrae, you compress your spinal cord, and you have a bunch of bone fragments in your spinal cord. We're going to go in. It's going to be a 10.5-hour operation. And we don't know what the outcome is going to be. Do you have any questions?
You're like, yeah, I got a few.
I didn't. After hearing that,
you didn't know what to say.
I mean, what do you say?
Yeah. Like, how do you, I mean, it's like, yeah, I probably have a million questions, but I don't even know how to probably like form words.
I don't even know what a spinal cord injury is.
Yeah,
what is this?
that?
What is a T12 burst fracture?
Yeah.
What is that? What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, I should explain now because I'm talking about it because, I'm learning a lot from it. And, the good thing about having an incomplete spinal cord injury, it's like a telephone line. If you split that line completely, that's classified as a complete, which means you have no signal whatsoever to the lower extremities. I was classified as an incomplete, so I had a little bit of service. It's like having bad cell service, right? But that gave me like the chance of like actually maybe beating this.
Yeah. Was that?
But I didn't know that.
You didn't know.
I didn't know that until I started documenting my journey.
Yeah.
And like educating myself with this.
So when you first hear I have a spinal cord injury, asking, can you walk? They didn't give you a lot of hope, I'm assuming.
No, not. You can never like bash doctors, right? Because it's like I said, like with this type of injury is so complicated, and they don't know. They really don't know, and definitely what a tough position to be them.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
but they keep quiet, and when you keep quiet, what do you expect?
Yeah. So can you take me to like your mentality during that time? Like, were you ever told to just accept it and that like, oh, like this is my life now. I'm not going to be able to walk. And did you?
No, I mean, I knew right away there's two ways to beat this injury. It's like you can hit that morphine button and numb those pains, right? That's a good feeling.
Let me tell you, when I had I had a tumor on my pancreas when I was little. I freaking love that morphine.
It's addicting.
It could be, and I was, 9, 10. So like, but I remember, when you are split open in some way, like I was like, they had to be like, Hannah, you cannot keep pressing this button.
Yeah.
So like, I don't even know. I can't imagine But yeah, it's very easy to just be like, I don't want to feel this.
It's like, yeah, let's numb the pain. Let's
Mhm.
numb this. Let's numb everything.
Did you do that for a little bit?
I did,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I was like, when I was in ICU and couldn't move my legs, I thought I was going to get out of surgery and I was going to be like kicking my toes around. I literally thought, okay, they're going to go in, they're going to get this bone fragment out, and I'm going to be able to like move my legs. No, not at all. And that's when I was like, is this me now?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the popcorn ceiling, reality sets in. And you're like, this is not reality. Would
you say it was pretty dark?
It was definitely a dark. I would be lying if I said I wasn't a dark place in the early stages of this career. Are you kidding me? I mean, I got my whole identity taken away from me.
Yeah.
Big time. That humbles you.
Yeah.
When you lose half your body, that humbles you.
Where was it waist down?
So I was diagnosed T12, which is like mid lower back. So like belly button down, no movement and no sensation. Hannah, what's below your button?
Yeah.
Belly button.
Your
Mm-hmm.
private parts.
Mm-hmm.
So could you even pee?
No. And I had no idea that this went into a spinal cord injury. I had no idea. That humbles you, right? And
yeah,
people always ask me like, what was the hardest thing about this injury? And, getting your bladder and your bowels taken away from you, that humbles you.
So you wouldn't even know when you had to go to the bathroom. You would just go.
I had an indwell catheter and it would just release it when it was happening. This injury is crazy. I always say never mess up the brain and the spinal cord.
Yeah.
Those are like the two parts in the human body that never heals properly.
What do you remember? Was there a day? Was there someone that switched you from this is my life now? I have no control of the lower part of my body, and this is just my life. I'm going to keep hitting this morphine, to being like, I have another choice.
Yeah, I knew it pretty early, actually.
Okay.
Like, I realized what I was doing, right? Hitting that morphine button. I was like, okay, there's two ways to go about it. I can numb it, or I can actually feel the pain and grow from it and feel it. Sometimes to heal, you need to feel the pain.
Totally. I definitely agree.
You have to feel the pain to do it. And I was like, I need to get off this shit because this is not going to end well if I continue doing this.
Yeah.
So I got off all meds.
All meds.
All meds. Boom. Felt the pain. And that's when I felt like I started like progressing. When I started like the inflammation started going down, clear vision, taking it very serious. And I knew, I'm like, this is going to be a wild road, Paul. You are going to have to put the same time and effort that you did in your bike career to learning how to walk again.
Was this all like an internal belief in yourself, or was there somebody that came in and said something to you to make you believe in yourself? Or was this all just within?
When you sustain a spinal cord injury, you're on this journey alone. You have to put the work in. You have to like go internally and be in that place to put in the work, and the mental strength on this whole journey is the craziest thing. It's like, I mean, it's so crazy to be in a situation that there's not a cure for.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was a magic pill. I wish you could say, like, when you break a collarbone, you can wear your sling for like 6 weeks. When there's no like answers, you just have to be so mentally in your own vision.
Mm-hmm.
And don't worry about the distractions
Mm-hmm.
or what you're hearing. You just got to be you and focus everything that you believe in that you can do as a person, and fucking let's go. Like, you got to push yourself. And I'm 8 years in this journey, Hannah, and I'm pushing myself still with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I just lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
No, it's so good. Like, oh shoot, I had a good question, but I can't remember. Okay. So
I think you would be in the same. I think you'd have the same mentality, and I tell this to everybody. I'm like, what else do you do? What else do you do with it?
Yeah.
Like, if I think I have a disabled body, then I'm going to be living a disabled lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. That was my question. That got me to my question. So you said spinal cord injuries are like a snowflake. They're all different. But what is the percent? Is there like a percentage of people who actually regain some type of mobility? Is there anything?
So like the people that are classified incomplete injuries, spinal cord injuries, they do get some movement back and sensation.
Okay.
I mean, there's been people doing that. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I'm one of them. People that have a complete spinal cord injury, like cut. I mean, on paper, I don't know. I don't think we've seen it, but there's like a lot of new technology coming out with like electro implants, stimulators in the spinal cord to bypass an injury that people are now standing up and walking with a cane. So,
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, they're on the right direction to find this cure, but still way behind.
So, but like for you and the people that have incomplete, is there a percentage for people like you? I mean, I feel like you're like special breed.
I just push myself, Hannah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I've seen, how you do it.
And I don't know. I just don't let anything hold me back.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We're here now. Like, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
This is the cards I dealt with. How am I going to play this?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to play this hand right now?
Yeah.
I'm going to have the best fucking time doing it.
Yeah.
Regardless my situation.
I love that. So you're in it. You're like, all right, let's freaking go. This is my life now. What does that recovery look like? Can you just give us like, I know it's been a long recovery and you're still in it, but like when you decided I'm switching this on, go time. What were those days like for you?
It's like, you better build a gym setup at your house. I was fortunate to have brands help me out with this whole situation. And I built a gym at my place and I would work out there for hours a day. And then after that, I would have to go to PT and just learning like the basic like motor skills. And I would spend like 3 hours of just like learning how to like, it's silly, but like getting out of my wheelchair and like doing everything in like a wheelchair way, like from getting acupuncture right after to, I wasn't cold plunging at the time, but I'm doing that now. It's like, and then not even talking about me leaving the country and trying these experimental treatments like stem cells. Like I've done it all, Hannah.
Yeah.
I have done it all
for
many years. Like I'm 8 years and I've done some crazy things. Like, like I was telling the story last night, like, I went and got 250 million stem cells injected in my spinal cord just to see if it would help and tell the story, like this is where I'm at with it, is helping people out with this injury or even with people that lost motivation. Like, this is my purpose. So I'm like the guinea pig with this stuff, and I go and I try it, and then I tell people what it does, right?
Yeah. What's worked? What hasn't worked?
Everyone's like, what has helped you the most on this, with this injury? And it's time. Time. I never say a product. I never will ever say, oh, stem cells made me walk again. Because you know how many kids reach out their parents saying, hey, I'm thinking about going to Mexico and, getting stem cells to cure my son's spinal cord injury. It's like, well, it helped me as far as pain, but I didn't go and start running from it. I didn't go start moving my ankles from it. It helped with my pain, but I didn't move any new body movements from this,
Yeah.
So you got to be very careful for me when I talk about this, but looking back and seeing where I'm at today, time, your time,
Yeah.
not the doctor's time, your time. And I learned that so much in my journey because the doctors will give you a 2-year window. They say, after 2 years, this is your new body after a spinal cord injury. They say, you're not going to get, that's what they do say that.
Ugh.
I will say that right now. I was told straight up.
But did that put you in like high gear to hear I got 2 years?
Kind of. Sorry, Hannah. I get worked up because it kind of like made me mad in a lot of different ways because I was making a documentary about this as well.
Yeah.
And
such a good documentary, you guys. It's called Any One of Us?
Any One of Us,
yes, on HBO.
Any
Freaking
one of us.
won.
Yeah, we won a sport Emmy and
An Emmy.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Thank you. And even in that 2-year mark, because I had a whole camera crew following me, right? And they know exactly what was going on. And on that 2-year window, the cameras also shut down. Everybody thought the 2 years was it. My team, maybe, I don't know, but like we just shut the film down, right? This is our 2-year journey. And I was a mess. I was a mess when when you sustain a spinal cord injury and you have a 2-year window, you're looking at that clock. Oh, like when I was 8 months into this, or 8 months in like 8 months, I was like, okay, I still got some time. I'm moving my quads. Like, okay, I'm walking in a walker now. Okay, this is good. Year and a half, I'm like, okay, I'm like 4-arm crutches. I'm getting around a little bit better. And then right when that 2-year mark hit, I kind of hit a plateau and I was like walking with a cane. And I'm like, all right, Paul, this is you now. Lisa wasn't where you were at 2 years ago in the hospital bed when you couldn't move. Now this is you, like, walking with like 2 canes, or you can get around short distance in a cane. And it kind of like damaged me a little bit because, I mean, is this where I really want to be in life?
Yeah.
I was grateful, but I was at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to be on their time.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue doing me. And I kept on working out, kept on taking the same approach to this injury as I was in the early days. And year 4, year 5, I started seeing more gains. In year 7, I was like, new movements, like I can start moving my left foot now. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I'm starting to see a lot more progression throughout the years. And I'm like, all right, time, Paul, time.
I love that because, yeah, I feel like that's why, I asked, like 2 years maybe can give you that motivation to do that, like as much work as you can. But you're saying when the 2-year mark ended, it was still that speed, and that you kept that mentality of like, there's no end game to this for me.
For sure.
Until I'm done. Until you're done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's with everything. And like, I don't know, time. Like, even society puts so much like pressure on time.
For anybody, no matter if it's an injury, but like career, how much you're supposed to be making, where you're supposed to be in your life.
When are you supposed to be married?
Have kids.
It's like, no, it's right when it's you want it.
Yeah. I love that. Anybody can really resonate with that. So like you just said, you started feeling you got feeling back in your legs in certain places. So can you tell us like life right now? Where are you in this journey? Where do you have sensation? Where do you not?
Yeah. Yeah. So 8 years after post injury, I have movement and sensation all the way up to the knees. And then on my left, I have a little bit ankle movement now. And then on the right, still no movement or sensation. And I still have no sensation on my left foot as well. So I can't feel my feet. It's weird. I can feel pressure, but if you poke me with a needle, I would not feel it. Or if I had my eyes closed and I was walking on sand or grass, I could not tell you which one was which.
Oh, wild.
And temperature. Hot tub, like every time I test water, I always have to put my hand in.
Can you feel it on your, can you feel temperature on your quads?
Above my knees, yeah.
Okay, so everything's
yeah.
Would you say back to normal?
No.
Yeah.
The quads, yes. Hamstrings are still weak. And then like my glutes are still like an issue. But I have signals to all those muscle groups. And hopefully over time, they continue to keep getting stronger.
This might be a weird question to ask, but when did being able to have control over your bladder and your bowels, when was that in the process? Because that is, that would be a horrible. And to be able, were you like, oh gosh, I'm never going to be able to have kids now? Did you ever go into that mindset? And,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's such a big part of your life.
Totally. What if it had that just taken away?
No. Yeah, exactly. Because you use it every single day, right? And to stick a 14-inch catheter stick up your private part is not fun. And when you have to do that every 3 hours, it's very I got tested so hard in that situation, Hannah. Like the day that I came back after 3 months of self-cathing myself every 3 hours, day that I got back and I was able to pee for the first time, it was literally the best piss of my life. I had the biggest smile and I was so blessed that it happened.
Yeah.
Because that was by far the hardest thing I had to deal with. Just self-cathing yourself every 3 hours, paying to go to the restroom. Think about that. And because my insurance was not covering that. It's no joke. It's no joke.
How far along into the process was that something that, you were able to fully
get back?
Yeah, get back.
Yeah, I would 3 months. 3 months I got back. I was in the hospital and
you're like, worst 3 months ever, but 3
it
months
was. Yeah. It was 3 months, but those 3 months feel like a year.
Yeah.
It was. That was the most challenging part about this whole journey.
I would bet. Question, you brought up insurance and everything, but your job was to be able to use your body. It was a physical sport. You obviously can't do that anymore. And any type of injury, there's insurance, but does insurance only cover so much? Financially, what was the burden for you in all this?
Yeah, that was stressful. That was stressful.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that too when I was on that hospital bed, because I was like, this is how I made a living my whole life. I depended on my body.
Yes.
And I was learning on the hospital bed, figuring out how to make it outside my body. What I mean by that is Paul, you're never going to ride a bike again. At that moment where I was at, for a paycheck at least, you better learn a new skill. You better I had some money saved up because I was doing this for so long. It happened at the end, but I was like, okay, I better learn how to invest in what I have now. Let's figure out how to, still have my foot in the door with some opportunities that could generate some income. And I had a community behind me as well. It was very humbling. A lot of my riders would auction their jerseys off to raise some funds to pay for the hospital bills, because I had insurance. I had the best insurance, but they don't take care of the full bill.
So you had to really like not only like every part of your life had to change. You had to figure out what's the new career path. So you just got really knowledgeable about investing. Is that what
Yeah.
you do now?
Yeah. Like I do a lot of real estate.
Okay.
I do a lot of home flips back
Okay.
home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that, and I still have some endorsements with the biking stuff. I did a public speaking engagement the other week.
Yeah.
So I still having fun with it and
Yeah.
still involved. And
But man, like think about like if you didn't have had this long career, I would think
I
this is a really
I know.
hard for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
I had literally the best support system that anyone could ever ask for during this time.
Yeah.
I had a sport behind me. I had a partner behind me. I had my family behind me. I had every support system that anybody needs to beat this.
Yeah.
So I was very grateful, and I'm really aware of that. And still today,
Yeah.
I have the best support system.
Yeah. You kind of brought up your partner relationship. So like how did this experience affect your relationship? Because you do have a documentary out
Yeah.
and you had a relationship that,
Mhm.
you know, it showed that in the documentary a lot.
Yeah.
But would you say, and when I met you, you obviously you weren't together anymore, but like, would you say this injury strengthened your relationships or did it strain them?
For me, I can only speak upon my
Mhm.
side of things.
Totally.
For me, it destroyed it for me as who I thought as a person now, who I am in this new body.
Mhm. That makes sense.
And you lose a lot of confidence in yourself, and for me, I was very like just not me, not happy, didn't feel the confidence that I needed to like sustain a good relationship during that time. Like I had no confidence. I was no business in being in a relationship during something like this, even though I had the best support system.
Yeah. Well, that makes
I
so
was
much
so
sense.
just lost in life, and took many years to heal from, as we said earlier, pain comes in a lot of different forms, right?
Mhm.
So
That I can't really imagine because like I've struggled with my own like mental health and feeling so unconfident and so like, oh, why would somebody want to be with me? And you know, you're having your your partner starts to become a caretaker.
mhm.
And was that hard too to be able to be like this feeling like this person now sees you so much differently and to be able to have a romantic relationship with somebody who you feel like is always taking care of you. I feel like that would be really tough.
It is actually, because
Mhm.
you as a man, you're the provider. You have the strength. You're there to provide and be that person. And I was definitely not that during that time. No
Mhm.
way. I was also at a time in my life that in my age too, that I didn't know what I wanted, Hannah. I really didn't.
Yeah. How old were you?
When that happened, I was 27.
Okay. Yeah. I
27.
didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That that tracks with I guess most people we think we know what we want at that age, but
No. I was in no position.
yeah.
No position. And I learned a lot. I learned so much from all my past stuff.
Mhm.
Like, I'm very blessed that I went through all this, and like, because all you can do from your past is learn from them, grow from them, and just make sure you just never make those mistakes again.
Yeah. Totally. That kind of gets me to my next question because obviously like you've been so resilient. Like you live like a miracle type of life. Like that you've been able to do all that you're doing now. But that's come with a lot of pain as we've talked about. So like I wonder what your thoughts on this are, but do you believe that there is truly purpose in pain? And because people will say that all the time. So do you believe that? And do you have a certain purpose that you found in your own pain if you do believe that?
I think this was supposed to happen to me for this
Mm.
reason. To you have you write your own limitation, what you want to do in life, right? And I can make a lot of excuses. And I think as humans, we do make a lot of excuses, right? And for me, I think it's very important that I'm not one of those guys making excuses, and I'm gonna do what I want to do, and hopefully help people get inspired and push themselves to be a better whatever they want to become, right? And that's where I'm at with it right now. It's I mean, I did a half marathon yesterday, Hannah.
I know.
I did a half marathon yesterday, and I was the last person to finish. And at the end of the day, I was like, I finished. Doesn't matter about the time. I finished. And
dude, 8 years ago, you were in a hospital bed and couldn't feel your legs.
I know.
And you just did a half marathon. It's like incredible.
It didn't hit until the day after, because I've never been in so much pain in my life, and every time I punish myself, I learn something new by myself, and something much greater comes out of it.
Yeah. You just finished your half marathon yesterday, which is crazy. But I want people to, and you talked about the pain as like one of the most painful experiences. You said last night we went to dinner. You're like one of the most painful experiences you've done. But I think I want people to understand like the gravity of what you did this past weekend. Like it's huge. And can you describe the pain? And you can't even feel half of your legs. Like it's wild. It's so freaking badass.
It was more painful mentally, because the mental pain started weeks before this.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew I was.
Would
going
this
to
usually
get punished.
not be advised?
This
is not advised.
I feel
like you probably do a lot of things that are not advised.
This one makes me feel alive.
Yeah.
Sometimes
that's so important.
Sometimes you need to be punished to feel alive.
Yeah.
So when Adam was talking about jumping that UFC ring yesterday, I'm going to bring it up because you don't have to put this in, but I felt connected with him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need that rush. I need to feel alive. I'm like, Adam, that's exactly how I felt yesterday.
Yeah.
I needed that. I feel so good as a person now to like put that work in, to get punished, to test yourself. I'm like, I'm a different beast now because of yesterday.
I get that too. I did that Special Forces show, and like, I would be the last person you would think, not last, but like that was putting my body through pain I've never experienced. I'm not an athlete, and I was doing things that professional athletes were saying was the hardest thing they've ever done in their life.
No way.
And I did that. And I was like, that's crazy. So I get that like feeling of just being like, I just did something that like, I honestly can't believe I did. I could do. I know I passed my limits. And that's the best feeling, because now you have a new limit for yourself.
Exactly. So I already know what that's going to be, but I never knew that was possible until yesterday.
Yeah. So wild. So you finished this race. You said your body's still hurting, but I want to talk about you. You were saying like to us, you're like, man, I have blisters on my feet. And I was like, yeah, like blisters suck.
Yeah.
But having blisters for you, because you can't actually feel the blister.
Right.
But it's still something that you have to take care of more than a normal person. Can you explain that? Because that was so fascinating to me.
It was funny. Like I just finished the half marathon. I'm exhausted. legs are shot, knees are like bleeding. Like I have braces. They were just like rubbing on back of my calf. So I have some rashes going on. And then I look at my foot and I have like a little blister, just a little blister. And my girlfriend, she started laughing at me because I was like, oh, I was so bummed about this little blister.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to her, I was like, this little blister can turn into like a pressure sore. And what happens is when you sustain a spinal cord injury, you have your blood circulation to your lower extremities is not working properly. So like after the run, even though I just did 13 miles of walking, my feet are cold. It's crazy. So any wounds below my knees, they never heal. So like a little blister like that will take 2 months to heal now.
Wow.
And I got to make sure I stay on top of it because they can get affected and they get nasty and they can turn into a pressure sore. And that's how Christopher Reeves passed away. It's from a pressure sore. Yeah. Superman. Exactly. Superman passed away from a pressure sore. So it's something that it's no joke and you just have to have eyes on it.
Yeah. After yesterday, you were saying like it was painful, but like I'm doing this again.
Yeah,
which is wild. But you're like, this is my thing.
Yeah, it's something that I enjoy. I got tested so many times yesterday, and to like not give up during those times, and then you see that finish line, it's such a special feeling. And now I'm just like, okay, I want to keep doing these.
Yeah.
I want to like continue doing it, and hopefully I see more people out there like by my side with sticks because it was a lonely walk. It was a lonely walk back there, but
because you walked the whole thing and you're at a slow speed. You were saying like people were cleaning up, like because most people like that shows your strength mentally because most people are so afraid of that feeling where you could go in your mind of like, oh, I'm the last one here. People have forgotten about me. I feel like,
But Hannah, it goes back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
This is my time. I don't care what you're doing with your time during the race. My girlfriend had finished 6 miles ahead of me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is just my time and we're just going to finish it. And yes, I know what you're saying because I started thinking that way. I'm looking at thousands of people and I'm like, I don't see anybody like this. And then when that race started and you just had thousands of people just passing by you, I was like, this is going to be a long day for you, Paul.
But did people recognize what you were doing as you were going? Like, were people like pumping you up? Because your story is inspiring, but just what you did this weekend is just like taking it to a different level. Did people recognize that as you were going?
I don't think anybody knew what I was doing until 4 hours the race was over. After the race was over, hours later, people were celebrating, partying, they were cleaning the streets, and then I was the last one on course. Then people realized what was going on.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I remember like just like walking down the main street and I'm passing by Lululemon and everyone's just like partying, drinking, like already like finished for the whole night. And I'm just like, still have 3 miles to go. But they recognized it and it was humbling. It was very humbling. It was cool. The support system in this space is so awesome.
Yeah.
It's even though I was the last person to finish, I felt
finished.
I feel like it was a family bond.
Yeah.
I feel like we did it together because so many people were like, you got this. Like the support is insane when you do these marathons.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because it's like,
cool.
There's no way I would have been able to do this by myself. It's a whole community.
Yeah. So obviously like you've inspired so many people yesterday on that run, but you've inspired millions of people because we have to talk about this reel that you created that went so viral. For you guys, like obviously we've spent the past like hour talking about his story, but you were able to condense your story into like a, less than a minute reel, and it went super viral. talk to me about like what that was like and what type of messages were you getting and what inspired you to be like, I want to put this out there in this way. Yeah.
It came down to like, it was on my birthday and I was just reflecting what I've did the last 8 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, what a crazy journey it's been, and just like looking at each timeline during this journey, right? And it's like it all comes back to time, and and this post was about time for me again, and it's just like you can just see the progression over 8 years, right? And that message was to basically never give up, regardless how tough it is. Time is your ally.
Yeah, totally.
All right. And as long as you don't give up, you will reach that one day, whatever you're chasing. You just can't give up. And seeing it with my story over 8 years, I'm just like, this is the message I want to push out there, is that time. You're on your own time. This is your journey. And don't get distracted by what society's telling you to do, because at the end of the day, you have control.
What was it like when you made this amazing message for people and you put it out there, like, this is a message I just want to put out for my birthday. Like, this is important for me, special to you. But it was special to a lot of people. What was that like? Because it went like viral.
Yeah, it was humbling, like the messages I was getting. Some of the people I look up to, The Rock shooting me messages. That was cool. It was, because that guy's a savage. His work ethic is insane, right? So to get props from that guy, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, you are doing a lot right.
But it's for the big picture, right?
Yeah.
It's to get people inspired and knowing that they can do it too.
Yeah.
We all have struggles. Your struggles are different than mine. Some are more visible than others, right? But at the end of the day, we all have struggles and we're all here together to beat them.
Yeah. So would you say this is your purpose now, to just keep sharing your story and doing that through pushing your body to the limit and sharing that with other people? Is that like the mission now?
When I was walking yesterday during that long stretch, it was like the 9-mile stretch. It was like everybody was gone. And I'm just head down, looking at the gravel. I'm like, why am I doing this? And it's because people need it. People need it. And if I can do it, I truly believe that anybody can do it if they push themselves and never give up.
That's why I want to do this
podcast. I'm like, regardless how long it's going to take me, I'm going to get across that finish line. Because I was like, I need to prove a point that we can all do this. Yeah. We can all do this.
So good. And that's why I love this podcast, is people do need it. There's some people that are going to turn on this podcast having a crappy day or in that mindset where they want to give up, and to just be able to hear, people need to hear the message that you have today. And I just think it's so awesome that I had the opportunity to showcase that, but that you are making it your mission every day to just remind people that we're all on our own time, but to keep going, to keep pushing.
And never give up.
And
never give up, Hannah. Let's go.
This was so amazing.
Let's go. We got this.
I am so glad to be able to call you friend.
Same.
It has just been, I remember the first time we met and I didn't even know that you had any type of limitations.
You could say disability.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, I had no idea. And to be able to meet you and then to hear your story and to just see how you live your life. I mean, you're on your bike every single day.
I'm more active than my friends that have able bodies.
Yeah, you are.
I'm pushing those guys to come to the gym with me.
You're at the gym every single day. You're riding your bike every single day. you don't take for granted the life that you have. We all live by the beach. You're like, I go and check out. I see that beach every single day. I see the sunset every single day.
Same. It's healing.
And that, I don't know, you're just such a big inspiration. I'm so glad that we've been able to connect, and I'm so glad that I've been able to share your story today.
Thank you for having me on, Hannah. It's been amazing. You guys have been nothing but a huge support system. You and Adam, when I first moved to LA, you guys have been nothing but like a good family from the beginning. So thank you.
Well, it's been great having you here in Nashville too.
Such
Come
a good
visit
time.
more.
I will.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the episode. Better Tomorrow is produced by me, Hannah Brown, and Legos Creative. Our show is recorded, engineered, and edited by the Legos Creative team. Remember to follow Better Tomorrow wherever you get your podcast so you don't miss the next episode. And don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really helps and shows your support. You can follow me on socials at Hannah Brown, and you can stay updated on all things Better Tomorrow on our Instagram at Better Tomorrow and our TikTok Better Tomorrow podcast.